Welcome to Angola for the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. The opening game sees Uganda take on the four-time champion Senegal. Josh Beck told us one alongside former Angola coach Will Boyd. Coach, what an interesting matchup to start the FIBA AfroBasket. One team with a lot of history in the case of Senegal, while Uganda, it's about building history themselves.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a David versus Goliath situation. Senegal's Uganda's got a upgrade.
This Senegal team see Marco Badio, the first player to come out of very successful first season. This is going to be a favorite team to get to their top four. We've now introduced players that now get ready to stand for the national anthems of both these beautiful countries of Uganda and Senegal. For those watching live, we kindly ask you, if you're able to do so, to please stand for the national anthems. 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. Kicking things off, we'll see Senegal go up against Uganda. Now, Coach, of course, looking at this Ugandan team, a lot of prospects, but also a bit of veteran players. Summarize, how those embody this tournament. It's probably going to be the energy, the sense of pride every player is going to have featured today.
Absolutely. It's an incredible moment. I get excited being there, and obviously, this team was lucky enough to have the opportunity to take Nigeria to a championship. That's a moment that's going to stick with me and that team forever. So I know everyone's really excited. And we'll have to see which team is on top at the end of it.
You've worked with two of the giants of AfroBasket, Angola and Nigeria. What is that feeling like in the opening game? You're fresh off the plane, you've had your shoot around, you've gone through your media day. What is the mindset, or what are the drawbacks and I guess the positives as well?
Well, of course there's jitters for everyone. So I think when you're traveling, I think the host, when we watch Angola tonight, we'll see with the crowd behind them, but when you're traveling, everybody's not quite sure where their team is stacked up to the rest. So you've probably had a few friendly games, but knowing where your preparation is for that first game is hard. So that, that first 10 minutes to kind of settle into the game, get a feel for how your team's going to be, is crucial in the tournament.
Well, Uganda first featured at the FIBA AfroBasket back in Tunisia 2015, making it to the round of 16. Because they have featured in 2017 and 2021. This is their fourth FIBA AfroBasket. If you look at this Uganda team now, we have alluded to where they have their strengths, going up against a very historic tough opponent. What should be their expectations for this AfroBasket?
Well, again, you don't want to say you're just happy with the especially for this opening game, it's going to be a huge challenge. But their coaching staffs, people I'm very familiar with, so both Mike Schmitz and George Malinopoulos are former assistant coaches of mine, and I know what they've done in terms of building up this program. So, for Uganda to be participating this frequently now, that alone is a huge step forward for them. They've done a great job with it.
Well, Senegal, are the expectations high on this team? They won their first ever FIBA AfroBasket back in 1972. We did mention it was 28 years ago in Dakar, Senegal, the very last time they lifted the championship. You almost feel like with Senegal, there is that expectation. You've got to bring the championship home at some point.
There's no question. I was speaking earlier with Mark and also a member of that. So we know it weighs on them. In fact, we even brought up in overtime, we were fortunate enough to beat them on our way to a championship. So, the margins are small, but they really feel that they've got a team good enough to win it all, and I think that's their expectation for this tournament.
Well, Bronco Badio now getting ready to enter the floor with his teammates. The Uganda players just having some final words with their coaches. This is the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. We are live here in the capital city of Angola, Luanda, with what is going to be an excellent showcase. And of course, the other venue that's been played in this magnificent tournament in Namibia, of course, some very exciting teams there. Angola will be playing their group stage games there. Cabo Verde as well. They'll be a team to look out for, Coach.
Yeah, you know, Angola and really probably the toughest group in the tournament. So it's going to be interesting to see when they travel up to Namibia how they do there. You know, South Sudan will be waiting for them, of course, and I think it's an upstart Libya team. I think tonight's game should be interesting.
Of course, Ministerio de Juventude e Deportes is a magnificent arena. We are live here. I'm just wondering, this is probably going to be a sellout capacity, not an empty seat in the house when that game does take place.
It's a huge home court advantage. So, you know, I was fortunate enough to coach this national team, and during that stretch, we never lost a game here in this arena. So we'll see tonight. This place will be rocking, and they will use that support to feed off of with their energy.
And Senegalese players just having some changes of jerseys over there with a few players. It's just the Under Armour garment that needs to be changed. They are getting ready. It will be Branco Badio in the back floor. And, you know, I've really been impressed with his progression, Coach, playing in Baxi Manresa for so many seasons, not only in the ACV, but also the battles he had in the FIBA Basketball Champions League. Now, we do apologize. We have a slight delay in game at the moment. The players are coming back on the floor for a warm-up. Go back to Branco Badio, Coach. You know, he has really molded his game while being in the ACV in Spain.
Oh, there's no question. You know, he's emerged as a star. Obviously, the confidence he gets playing at such a high level in Europe, but he's brought that through their qualification games. So Senegal going undefeated during that stretch, and really, you know, Branco leading the way.
Well, at this time, we'd also like to introduce our 3 referees and 1 commissioner and technical delegate for tonight's game. One of the players are just on the floor. We do apologize. We do have a technical issue that is being resolved at the moment. But our 3 referees tonight are coming from Algeria, Angola, and Libya. From Algeria, we have Sofiane Si Youssef. From Angola, we have Claudio Ueba. So introduce our technical delegate to you as well. From Libya, we have Tam Haika. Our commissioner tonight is Comian Abel Alexis Gochi. So we're very proud of the hard work and loyalty of all of our officials who've done a magnificent job in all of our competitions. And they will continue to do a magnificent job here at the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. Wonder, Coach, you have players like Gora Camara, to mention the FIBA Europe Cup champion in Senegal. Size, you know, is this going to be an advantage for Senegal, or can Uganda match them in the pace?
Well, I mean, you can just see from the warm-ups, right, the physical presence that the Senegalese team can bring is impressive. So Uganda's going to have to find ways to junk up the game. And I think if it gets up and down, that's going to play into Senegal's favor. So if Uganda can control tempo, find some timely baskets, and I think in their case, you know, Robinson and Pong's going to have a really big game for them in order to pull off the upset.
And here's where I really want to pick your brain, Coach, is that, you know, you've coached at the pro level, the international level, and now you're currently in the NCAA with Brigham Young University. When we look at Uganda, a player like Jackson Money, you know, 3 years of NCAA Division II at North State, then playing his senior year in North Dakota, averaging over 20 points. This is his first taste of international basketball. It's the transition I'm always interested in, especially with young players coming out of the NCAA and playing at the world stage, if you like.
Oh, no question. And you know, Mike Schmitz and George Gallinopoulos have done a really good job at finding quality, naturalized players for their national team. So he's the next one up. You know, I trust their assessment of him. But to your point, it's his debut. And you never know. You know, it can be a tough transition for young American players to adjust to international games. So we'll have to see how he does in this first game of the tournament.
Well, for those who aren't familiar with professional basketball in Uganda, one of the professional teams, probably the greatest in the history of Ugandan basketball, the City Oilers. Many of these players have featured or currently featuring for them. But yeah, you go back to Apong, of course. I mean, his career takes him to the NBL in Canada, the CBL, also a brief bit of time playing in Argentina as well, and a little bit in Europe. And that experience is going to be so invaluable to this team.
Oh, no question. You know, Robinson is a well-established player in Africa. In fact, somebody that I talked to when I was coaching in the ball about playing for our team. he's seen it all, and he can shoot with the best of them. So, you know, when he's hot, he's capable of huge games, and that's really what they're going to need from him today.
Well, you had a magnificent season, of course. Time taking the champions of BAO in 2022 to the FIBA ICC. And we will be getting ready for the FIBA ICC in September. That will be in Singapore, where we'll see the champions of the ball, the NBA G League, BCL Americas, BCL Europe, and Asia. And it's great to see all the continents bringing the very best together. And, we're going to see some of the players from this tournament play in the FIBA ICC.
Yeah, it's really an incredible tournament. As you said, bringing the champions from each area to play against each other is a special moment for me as a coach. And just seeing the different styles of play as well is always interesting.
And again, fans, we'd like to apologize. We are just facing a few technical issues that we are resolving at the moment. We will keep you updated on that. In the meantime, if you are watching live, wherever you may be in the world, again, this is the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. If you want to follow up on the best news, highlight, and content within this tournament, make sure you follow AfroBasket on Instagram, X, and all social media platforms. It's going to be a very exciting tournament, Coach. I mean, we're going to see the best from the continent represent their countries in what is only the most historic international competition here in Africa.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think this tournament may have the most balanced of teams in quite some time. So when you look at the rosters of these different national teams, you could really make an argument for 6 different national teams being a favorite to win it. So it should be exciting watching it all play out.
Well, the host nation, Angola, the winningest team in the history of the FIBA AfroBasket. They started their journey of dominating the AfroBasket back in 1989. And, you talk with some of the locals, the names, they have not been forgotten. Jean-Jacques Conceição, Miguel Lutonda, But also many would debate who is the greatest player in the history of Angolan basketball, Carlos Moraes.
No question. I was lucky enough to coach him as a player. What he's brought to this national team and to this country has been tremendous. And, that last of that era, so Carlos Moraes, Leonel Paulo, Edward Mingas, these guys have recently retired. So be interesting to see if some of these younger players can now carry the torch to another championship.
You and I this morning, we briefly spoke about Senegal's head coach, Sagana Diop, and he has got a magnificent story. Playing at Oak Hill Academy, being drafted as, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong here, maybe one of 5 high school players in the 2001 NBA draft, 8th pick in the first round?
No, that's correct. I mean, tremendous player and has been a tremendous coach. So, I got to know him from the G League. So he's the Westchester Knicks head coach. Has done a great job there as well. It's great to see him on the sidelines here for this tournament.
And Uganda's coaching staff. There's a connection with you as well, isn't there?
Yeah, these guys were with me in Bakersfield in the early D-League days. So this is before it was even called the G League. So it's been great to watch their rise as coaches. Mike now in the front office for the Trailblazers. But they've done a tremendous job growing the program in Uganda.
Well, of course, both coaching staffs come very respectfully. But what I find very interesting about Sagana Diop, of course, that same very draft as Kwame Brown, 2001, and ended up going and playing with Andre Miller. And I don't think Carlos Boozer was in the league at that time with the Cavaliers, but Ricky Davis as well. And that was quite an experience. He finished his career with the Charlotte Bobcats before making that transition into the coaching world with the G League and the NBA. Yeah,
I mean, he had an outstanding career and really, paved the way for a lot of these other African players. So, he brings a wealth of experience to this group as he does in the G League.
Well, fans, again, we do thank you for your patience. We do apologize, and we would just like to give you an update. The issue we're currently having is a shot clock on one side of the floor, which we are trying to resolve. And like I say, we're just having the technical team now taking care of that. But, in the meantime, Coach Voigt and I just talking about the significance of this tournament. I don't think I remember. Now, 2021 was a fantastic FIBA AfroBasket. You know, Tunisia winning yet again, and that was almost like a passing of the torch from the Ike Diagu days of Nigeria to where they are now. But you said it, Coach, a very balanced tournament. Anybody within that, you know, top 6 favorite, top 8 if you like, it could be anybody's tournament or anyone's championship to win.
It really can. You know, I think it's going to be interesting in these early games to see if one of these teams can kind of push ahead as the favorite. But I think, you know, not only group play, but the quarterfinals are going to be so exciting. I mean, you're going to have some really great matchups there with everything on the line.
Well, this game does have a lot of anticipation. Many would say Uganda in this specific matchup against Senegal could have nothing to lose. And, you know, if you're a team like Senegal, and there's such high caliber players, you know, that come with such a very prestigious basketball CV, could this be a game for Uganda or for Senegal where you may inadvertently play down to the level of your opponent? I mean that respectfully, of course.
No question. And in fact, something like what we're having happen right now, you know, there's a shot clock issue. You know, now they have to warm up again. The game already has a strange feel to it. These are the kind of things that feed into that sort of upset. So it's going to be important that they stay focused throughout this, and I think get out to a good start. You know, if they allow Uganda to hang around, it could be an interesting game.
Now, to all of the Ugandan basketball fans watching this game live, you know, why we still take care of the shot clock issue, they'll be familiar with one Brandon Davis, you know, featured for them in the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. But I think you've seen a bit more of him in the recent year than probably most fans in Uganda have.
That's true. So Brandon is a BYU grad and has been on our campus training with our guys most of the summer. So tremendous player, great person as well, and has really provided a lot of leadership and experience to our group. So we've appreciated him being around.
Of course, during that time, another player, you know, playing his club basketball within the Spanish ACB, had a very elite career. Now, fans, we'd like to give you another update. I believe we have indeed fixed the technical issue we are facing with the shot clock. So I do think we are now moments away from tip-off for the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. Again, we apologize, and we do thank you for your patience. Coach Will Voigt of BYU, also former Olympic coach with Nigeria and, you know, time with Angola, knows this town, this arena very well. And Coach, to all the fans watching, you know, what can they expect if they're new or if they're accustomed or if they are big fans of the AfroBasket?
Well, you know, Angola obviously has a rich tradition of winning, but they love basketball here. So, you know, the country is excited to be hosting. The fans are excited to be watching. I think tonight, you know, when Angola plays, we'll see this arena filled, and the energy that they can bring to this stadium is electric. So should be a great tournament, and I know Angola will be a great host.
These two teams based in Group D. The other opponents will see Mali and Egypt. That will be the opening game between those teams, but it could very well be, you know, one of the tougher groups here within the AfroBasket. As mentioned, welcome to all of our fans watching live wherever you may be all over the world. Welcome yet again to Luanda, Angola. The 2025 FIBA AfroBasket is almost ready to take place. Gora Kamara will jump this one with Jonathan Komagum. And, you know, I did see this young man in the season he did play for the London Lions in the former British Basketball League before going and playing in the Indonesian Basketball League. And, you know, this will be a great test for him, Coach, up against some of the elite players of Senegal.
No, absolutely. You know, Senegal can bring depth to that big position. So, you know, they're fortunate that they can shuffle a lot of bodies in. But, you know, Gora getting the start here and having an opportunity to prove his worth with this team.
Well, we're ready. Welcome. The AfroBasket is underway. Senegal now will get the first possession. Bronco Badio trying to get things guarded early by Deng. The Lions going for an early post entry. Badio killing the screen, now goes for an early three. Bit of contact, no foul called. That goes out of bounds. Uganda will get that one.
And you can see early on where they want to go, right? So they think they have a size matchup in the post, and then, of course, they've got Badio coming off the screens looking to shoot.
Well, Bali having to be the primary point guard now for Uganda. Jackson Money, remember, fresh out of the NCAA with North Dakota State. The intense defense by the Lions, making this very difficult for Uganda. But time is winding down. Opong gets to the bucket, goes in, gets rejected. Well, that's good defense, and now Senegal want to run. Down the other end, transition buckets. Lonnie comes up with a rebound. Patient play by Senegal, as now they get an open three in the corner. But again, fighting for every second chance, and a foul has been given. And coach, relentless play by Senegal, just simply hungry for every second chance.
And that's going to be the challenge for Uganda. So obviously the size on display there, Senegal attacking the offensive rebounds. Uganda's going to have to find a way to come up with defensive rebounds in this game.
Well, Gorakama currently at the free throw line now here for the Lions. Because came in with a lot of energy during media day. And, I love the spirit of all the teams that, did come into, a media day is a very special day for any international tournament because it allows the players time to enjoy themselves. But I really felt he brought that energy, and you can definitely see that on the floor. He's almost like a warrior for this team.
No, absolutely. He's really great on the offensive rebounds, attacking the rim with a lot of power and strength. And those media days are fun for everybody. So, especially a young player like him.
Well, he's played his pro basketball in Italy. So we'll see how that transcends here for the AfroBasket. Monty now in the paint. Bit of a mismatch here against Branco Badio. Trying to make a bit of contact. Little fadeaway. Camera coming up with a rebound. And now Senegal yet again want to run. And Camera got a wide open look under the basket. A little bit too late. But now here's the post up. There's the offensive rebound and another foul. And coach, same story. Uganda's got to figure this one out.
Yeah, they have their hands full with the size of Senegal. You can see them getting out in transition and just too big right now on the board. So it'll be interesting to see what their adjustment is. You can see right now I think they're going to sub and try to get a little bit bigger on the floor.
It's going to be Ibrahim Afai at the free throw line here for the Senegalese team. It's another player who started his youth career within Barcelona. And what I guess I like about this, he definitely fits what Sagana Diop wants from his players. Just, you got to fight for everything. Second chance points, that could be the difference for a team like Senegal. If they are to get to the semifinals, they get you to that championship game.
No question. But for them, I think it's going to be the shooting that tips the scale for them as far as winning this tournament. So as they play some of the bigger, more athletic teams, they won't be able to rely just on the offensive rebounds.
Uganda's still looking for that first point. Bali being smothered on defense. Opong. Well, now turns it over. Good defense. Badio again trying to lead the surge. Well, drawing into traffic. Kamara comes up with it, goes in. Count it. And now he'll go to the free throw line for the three-point play.
And you see Senegal once again out in transition, really trying to push the pace, not letting the Uganda defense get set.
Well, Gora Camara, just like some other players here within the AfroBasket, started as a very young player. As many European basketball fans would like to say Basketball City in Bologna. Of course, played in the second division of pro basketball within Italy with Rimini. Because prior to that, he was playing for Nutribullet Treviso. So now a chance to make this a 7-0 start here in the first, almost 2 minutes for Senegal.
Yeah, not the start that Uganda wants to see. They've got to come up with at least a way to get shots. So the pressure and length of Senegal really disrupting their offense right now.
Kayera just missing the backdoor opportunity with Deng. And now coming up for the ball screen. Bali pulls up for three. Can he get it? Kamara yet again dominating every board. Senegal trying to up the tempo. Well, again, under the bucket, goes in, throws it down with two hands. And, coach, it's way too easy at the moment for Senegal.
It really is. They're having a tough time finding their matchups in transition. And even when they do, the size of Senegal really disrupting everything for them.
Money going baseline. Another pump fake goes in, and they need him to really be the go-to player.
No, absolutely. And, he's feeling his way through his first AfroBasket game. Maybe that basket can give him a little confidence moving forward.
Again, that is what, I asked you in the pregame. That transition from playing at North Dakota State, averaging over 20 points, this is international basketball. This is the AfroBasket. If we saw from that move, Coach, he's going to have a hell of a tournament.
Yeah, you know, the physicality of the game here sometimes takes some adjusting to, but obviously he's a talented player, and they're going to need to rely on him for some baskets here.
TJ Rougette subbing into the game. The young fella, of course, played his youth basketball for the Richmond Knights in the city of London in the United Kingdom. And a 5-second violation. Bronco Badio failing to get the ball inbound, but that's got to be a frustrating moment for Sagana Diop.
Oh, no question. And maybe this is the catalyst for Uganda. You know, they need something to spark a little life. You know, Tijan Rougette, also a player that Coach Gallinopoulos was high on. So let's see what he brings to the table.
Well, now he's been defended. Monty going for the three. And that's a poor foul to give away because he'll go to the free throw line for 3 shots.
Yeah, really not a smart foul there, especially with the shooting woes of Uganda early in the game. You don't want to give them anything easy, help them find a rhythm.
Well, Jackson Money, as mentioned, because they just spent the prior NBA Summer League with the San Antonio Spurs. And, you know, for those watching that may not be aware, you were with the San Antonio Spurs organization in the G League for a season.
No, that's correct. And, you know, previously was in their video room. So have a lot of close ties to the Spurs, and, you know, great opportunity for Moni playing on their Summer League team. I'm sure that was a big confidence booster for him.
You know, what's very interesting in his story, you know, he started NCAA Division II for 3 seasons at North State, and even that transition to NCAA Division I and to be averaging the numbers he had, I mean, that is very impressive.
No question. I mean, if you score 20 points per game at any level, you definitely can play.
Well, Badio now being heavily defended. Nice dime in the middle, but fumbles this one. Uganda looking to build some momentum. Well, that's going to be a carrying violation. Now, Coach, is that a case there, Kaira? Is he looking for the handoff, or is that just poor ball handling?
No, I think there's just a miscommunication. He's expecting the handoff there. You know, Tijan rejects it, and he just wasn't ready for it.
Monty trying to penetrate. Senegal again looking for that first 3. But still continue to dominate every offensive board. Camera, bit of contact, goes in. Foul has been given. I mean, what do you do if you're Uganda? Camera, offensive ball, post up. Do you double team, or do you just try to hope that he's going to miss?
Well, you know, he's getting these touches off of offensive rebounds, which makes it really difficult. Your defense isn't set in those moments. Knowing where to double in those situations can be hard. I think the real issue for Uganda is the rebounding. They've got to become more physical here and try to control the glass right now. Well,
both teams have had their free throw woes early on. We've almost played exactly 3 minutes and 30 seconds, the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. Uganda definitely displaying a lot of, I'd say, desire to go for these second chances, but probably also playing a very quicker tempo than, well, Senegal, I'm saying, than Uganda, of course.
No, absolutely. You can tell that they really want to push the pace, but to be honest, to look up and only be down 6 points with the start that they've had, you know, Uganda is still very much in this game. They just have to find a rhythm right now. So
Rougette penetrates. Not a bad move. He'll go to the free throw. Uganda have made a sub, so Emmanuel Womala has checked into the game so far.
Yeah, and you can see, you know, Tijan's impact on the game already. So, you know, he's been confident with the ball. He's been able to get downhill a little bit, and maybe that's the spark that they need right now.
Well, interesting note about Rougette is that he's been playing men's basketball since the age of 12 with the Richmond Knights in the lower divisions of the NBL in the United Kingdom. Of course, this opening game, you definitely feel there's a little bit of anxiety with both teams, just trying to find that rhythm, build that identity in their offense.
Yeah, of course, and also, too, you know, there's an adjustment to the rims, the backdrop within the arena. You know, as the tournament goes on, I think you'll see the shooting percentages of everybody go up.
Well, good defense by Rougette. Doesn't force a turnover. Senegal will get it back. But quite clearly, Coach, you can see the frustration from Karim Mane.
Well, and I love Rougette's energy. You know, he's come in and he's given them some life. He's been attacking the rim. You see him picking up and pressuring. This is what this Uganda team needs, you know, just to play with a little bit more aggression and confidence right now.
Diop coming to inbound this. Senegal still leading by 6 points. Monty coming off one screen, now penetrates. Going in, tough move, but again, doesn't get the right angle. Here's where Uganda's got to find some strength in the game. Try to catch out Senegal on the counterattack. Jang with a seal-off. Goes in, getting rejected yet again. And Faye with the block. Upon comes up, final seconds. And that's a tough move.
And that's what he can do. You know, he's been a shooter his whole career. They play him as an undersized 4 where he can find those jump shots.
Finally, Senegal getting the first 3. Coach, you saw them make by Apong, but how quickly Senegal get the ball inbounds.
Yeah, and that's going to be their style of play, up and down all game.
Oh, nice dish. Rouquet finding Jang. And a technical foul is going to be given against Rouquet. Well, what started as a tough penetration by Rouquet and a dish off to Deng. He's going to get teed up, so Senegal's going to get a free throw. I don't know what was said or what happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what was there. I mean, there must have been some choice words because the official was all over that. But I actually like his aggression and energy right now. Obviously, you want to channel that a little bit smarter, but he's come in and he's brought life to this group.
Well, another change coming in for Angola. Nassif Luboa coming now. He's part of Brewster Academy, so he's one of the younger players in this tournament. Branko Badio currently at the free throw line, extending it back to a 6-point Senegal lead. Because we will keep you updated on the score. 5:27 to go here in the first quarter. Senegal leading 14-8. It is the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket.
You see Uganda picking up full court right now. I think this is a great move by Coach Gallinopoulos. You know, even with the basket, but Senegal lacks that point guard on their roster. If there's one weakness, it might be in that area.
So Uganda that time just getting called out on the ball screen. Camara getting another bucket. Rouquet goes baseline. Now they get a ball reversal. That's good hands-on defense. It's going to remain Uganda ball with 10 here on the shot clock.
I like this combination now, you know, going with the 2 quick guards, letting them get downhill a little bit.
Well, throwing it away. Camara comes up with it. A foul has been given. Well, that's unfortunate there. You had an inbound play. They tried to go deep in the corner, but, Coach, you can't afford, I mean, you can't play that kind of style against a team as good as Senegal.
No, no question. You know, the turnovers are really going to hurt them. And also in this case, the take foul in transition, not realizing that that would put them in the bonus. So Uganda's going to need to clean up some of this stuff in order to get back into this game.
And that's an issue because with 4:55 to go, any more fouls, you're going to send Senegal to the free throw line. So you can't really afford to play that high up-in-your-face defense without the gamble of sending them to the charity stripe.
No, it's a great point. I think, you know, for Uganda, they want to see their fouls happen by pressuring full court, being aggressive on the ball. They don't really want it in transition or off of offensive rebounds.
Well, Mustafa Diop, of course, playing last season with Metropole Basket. Jackson now has to find ways to get into the game. Give them that offensive impetus. Goes for another baseline fadeaway. Now, you can see him. He has that elevation on his jump shot.
And, you know, Senegal switching the ball screen there, so maybe that's something Uganda could explore more, getting Moni against a guard there on the post where he showed he could deliver.
Well, it's a good take by Branko Badio. Camera in for the offensive rebound, but now turning it over. Uganda have numbers. Opong thinks about it. He's wasting an opportunity. Money going for a quick 3. That's something Uganda may not be coming up with too many, and that's offensive rebounds, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, just the size differentials really played out a lot in this first quarter.
Monty goes in, draws a foul, and yet again rewards himself with 2 more free throws.
Yeah, Senegal just relentlessly attacking the rim. You can, see that they know their advantages with their length and athleticism, trying to exploit that on every possession.
Of course, I want you to imagine if you're coaching Uganda right now, you're about to give up 12 free throws in 6 minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an issue, and it's come in different areas, right? I think, initially it was the offensive rebounds. It's happened in transition. They've got to find a way to get their defense set and tight. I think if Senegal is going to beat them, it's got to be from the perimeter. You can't allow this game to get up and down where their athletes can get to the rim.
Senegal is subbing into the game for Senegal. As mentioned, we'd probably like to add another championship to the calendar year 2025. I mean, he had a fantastic campaign with Bilbao Basket, winning against PAOK in that final. because they had to win game 2 on aggregate in the Palk Arena. It's not an easy task, Coach.
No, no question. I mean, a lot of these Senegalese players have had great regular seasons with their clubs, trying to bring that now to their national team.
Well, great take by Rouget, but a little too strong. Senegal trying to run quickly. Silla, pump fakes, makes one more pass. Badio, he'll fire the 3, and that's a little too short. Well, why did he let that one go out of bounds, Coach?
Yeah, I'm surprised at that.
They're going for a post entry. That's going to go out of bounds. A good defense by Uganda, making up for that. I think you see, well, they want to go quickly. Wamala. Got it by Badio. Pump fix goes in. Gets his own rebound. Well, good defense by Badio. That goes out of bounds. Senegal will retain it.
And that might be something to explore for Uganda. So, you know, their guards potentially could have some size there. You could see Senegal was not thinking to come down and double team in any way. So maybe there's some post matchups they can go back to.
Uganda's coach telling his players to bring out or take off the full court pressure. Silla makes a reversal. Senegal going for another 3. Jean-Jacques Boissy going in. Second chance, and he'll go to the free throw line. Well, Coach, he is a superstar within Senegal, and it's plays like that he does not get enough credit for.
Yeah, and you see Uganda, I mean, it's one thing to give up the offensive rebounds against their bigs, but now you've got the guards crashing from the perimeter. So they really got to get a body on them and start cleaning up the glass to have a chance in this game.
Well, Jean-Jacques Boissy actually started the first part of the season playing with Udunami in the Road to the Basketball Africa League. Then obviously went to play for Rwanda's Energy Group Kigali. It's always a great debate, you know, which guy do you want in the backcourt as your primary playmaker or your combo guard? Jean-Jacques Boissy or Branco Badio? This is always a fun debate when you have with the basketball fans.
Well, you know, it'll be interesting, right? Like, obviously Badio is a dynamic player, but really more of a scorer. So they don't have necessarily like that pure point guard to set everybody up. That might be the one weakness of this team as they move ahead in this tournament.
Well, one thing's definitely undeniable about both Branco Badio and Jean-Jacques Boissy is that relentless nature to get up in anybody's face. And what I've been impressed so far with Badio, people think they have a mismatch against him in the paint. I mean, he's a great defender.
No, no question. I mean, all of these guys, right, the length and athleticism on full display. They're going to get in, they're going to pressure, they're going to disrupt. That's definitely the identity of this team.
Another 3 goes missing for Uganda. Senegal now want to run quickly. Well, Badio finding an opening. Finds Boissy. Bit of contact, another foul. It's becoming the same story so far for Uganda's defense, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be 15 free throw attempts now. They just have to find a way to stay compact. So I think the initial transition from Senegal is really giving them problems, but they're a little overextended as well. So maybe a defensive adjustment to consider as they move forward in this game.
And when you look at Senegal's play, of course, it's just so balanced. You got 3 very good backcourt players, 2 exceptionally very good who could be in contention for the All-Star 5 at the end. But the ball movement, the post entry, the spacing is very good so far from Senegal.
Well, I mean, they're a great team, right? I mean, it's a challenge for anybody to figure out how to slow them down. I think, you know, it's really the one potential weakness might be the shooting, and I think that's where they've got to kind of hang their hat, hope that maybe Senegal can miss some shots, and of course they got to rebound those misses.
Well, Luboa drawing into traffic. Now goes baseline. This is better from Uganda. Now finding an opening. Somebody's going to have to take a shot at some point. Deng goes for it. And his face contested, but no problem for Deng.
Yeah, great shot there from Dangu, and great ball movement. You know, that's the patience to continue to attack. It's hard. The length of Senegal makes it very difficult, but a great possession there for Uganda.
Well, Boissy trying to find a Marcilla. Uganda have numbers. Luboa all the way. Simply unstoppable.
Yeah, great finish there, and a little bit of life here for Uganda. They would love to finish this quarter out on a strong note.
Well, they've gone on a 5-0 run. Huge positive play, but unfortunately, Coach, it's getting, putting Senegal into the penalty. That's killed. They've got it down to 7 points, but 136. You've got to keep on riding on that momentum. But you have to play composed, as you said.
Well, and you can see Coach Gallinopoulos telling his player to calm down a little bit. I think they just have to pull back on the pressure. You know, of course they want to try to disrupt and force turnovers, but the free throws are really hurting them right now.
Well, Senegal getting ready for a provisional substitution. Badio will be heading out as Babacar Cisse Diallo will be subbing into the game. Also part of the NCAA pathway, as many of these players you'll see in the FIBA AfroBasket. Well, great work from Branco Badio so far. And you know, is it his time right now for Senegal? Is he the face of this team, would you say?
I think he is. You know, his scoring ability is going to be so important for them. You know, obviously they have the length and the defense, but they're going to need somebody to give them points. And he will definitely carry that load throughout the tournament.
Oh, nice take by Dang. Count it! Well, he's looking very comfortable on the baseline. We saw the three-point shot.
Yeah, Dangu really bringing a lot of energy to this group. He's somebody I was talking to Mike Schmitz and George Gallinopoulos earlier about, you know, somebody that they were excited about. He has spent some time in the G League playing for Coach Gallinopoulos with the Texas Legends, so somebody that they're familiar with, and they told me this is a guy to keep an eye on in this tournament.
Because what I like about that play, Uganda's had their struggles, especially trying to find points in the paint, but coming from the backcourt, you know, Coach, it's a case of making Senegal's defense collapse and just putting them out, you know, in very uncomfortable situations?
Well, you know, they close out so well with all that length, so you just have to continuously attack and make quick decisions on the kickouts. So the last two possessions for Uganda have been great. They need to continue to play that way offensively.
Wasi playing pick and roll with Silla. Now finds a big man, goes in, neat move. Well, that's great execution by Senegal. Now we're under a minute to go here in the first quarter. 7-point lead currently to Senegal. The Lions in quest of that 5th FIBA AfroBasket championship. Money trying to ISO. Well, that's a good move, Coach, but again, it's the angle on the backboard.
Yeah, tough finish there. Opportunity for a 2-for-1 here for Senegal, so we'll have to see how they manage the clock here.
Well, Wasi had the ball screen, now fires a 3, and he buries that one. And this ball screen scenario with Amar Silla seems to be working.
Yeah, great combination there the last two times down the floor.
6 seconds difference between game and shot clock. Jang's made 1 3. That time unable to fire, so Senegal can have the final play. Well, Silla trying to find, they want to put the ball in the hands of Jean-Jacques Boissy. This has been working with Amar Silla, but Boissy wants to ISO. Boissy twisting, turning, goes in. Finger roll time, and he beats the buzzer. Jean-Jacques Boissy giving Senegal the double-digit cushion at the end of the first 10 minutes of play. And, you know, that is the Senegal, Coach, that we saw in the qualifiers.
Yeah, no question. An excellent job of managing the clock there down the stretch, playing the 2-for-1, coming up with 5 points there. You know, I think Coach Jop's got to be really happy with their execution.
Well, Senegal currently 7 out of 18 from in total in the field. They've made 2 3-pointers at the moment, but let's go and listen now to the benches to hear what they have to say momentarily as we do take a look at the stats.
A little bit in pick and roll. We're not doing a good job of getting to the body, okay? So they're getting free, and then the rollers getting free on the roll. So we got to bring that loaded side over the low man and the high shrink just a little bit more. Okay, so it's there on the side now. Yeah.
Yeah, boy, I like it. It's 15, 8. 1, 2, 5. You switch that side. Defensive real good, right? Offensive to the ball moving, but 36 got 2 wide open corner earlier. We crashed more earlier. Let's keep crashing, right? Let's keep driving, make us foul it, right? What they're doing, they're playing fast, right? You can see as soon as we score, they just stay it in. A couple of times they got us, we didn't match up. Make sure we get back and match up, okay? Okay, you're gonna have the ball here, right? This is gonna be Mata, you're gonna be here. Amar, Jean-Jacques, you're in the corner. Usman, yeah, you're here. You're gonna run the 77, right? Come off in the just come off all the way. Usman, you're gonna come set the screen right here for Mata. You look for it. If not, you get out. But what we're looking for really is Amar. You go get Usman coming up. Maybe we can get a catch and shoot for you right there. Right? Let's go. Keep guarding, right?
Keep crashing.
Guarding.
Well, welcome back, fans. We are live here in Luanda, Angola for the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. The opening game sees a 12-point lead to Senegal over Uganda. Josh Mann alongside head coach of BYU, Will Voigt. Coach, we saw Uganda build that passage of play where they did, start to establish that offensive identity. But Senegal, that ball screen scenario that they were going with Jean-Jacques Boissy and Senegal, that proved to be too tough for Uganda's defense.
Well, they found a nice combination there at the end of the first quarter. But really the story of this game so far, free throw attempts and offensive rebounds. So 17 free throw attempts, 9 offensive rebounds. That's going to be a lot to overcome.
Well, it's going to be Uganda with the first possession. Bali again in the backcourt. That's going to be a kickball violation. Just trying to work that free throw line extended ball screen with Deng. And Deng could be an X factor. You did mention you've had some conversations about his potential for this tournament. I think he could be more important for this Ugandan team than people expect.
Yeah, they were really high on him, and you see he's brought some good play here early on in the game. So, coming in with a lot of confidence, a couple of good drives here, maybe some of they can go back to on their offense.
Well, Monty with a step through, just didn't get the right angle. Comigan goes in. Second shot's no good. Jonathan Comigan spent last season playing in North Macedonia after that's final season in Indonesia. Boissy down the middle, kicks out. Silla pump fakes. Time winding down here. Boissy made his last 3. And Jean-Jacques Boissy feeling the confidence.
Yeah, he's really playing well so far, and that hurts for Uganda. I think that was actually a great defensive possession for them, but ending with that 3 at the shot clock. Senegal firing on all cylinders right now.
That's got to be every coach's dream here at the AfroBasket. 2 elite backcourt players. Now Comigan goes down the middle. Nice move. Finger roll time by the former London Lion. And maybe Uganda have found an option for them in the low block, but now they're going to have to defend. Senegal's made the last 2 threes. Silla battling for the rebound, but the Ugandans come up with it. Pulling up for a quick 3 in transition. Comigan fights for it, but Senegal's able to retain this.
Yeah, I don't love that shot there from Moni. I think they've got to be a little more disciplined with their offense.
Well, here's a man you don't want to leave wide open. That time just unable to fire in cylinders, but going back to that shot from Money, he had a few options in the first quarter on a few pick and pops that he gave up, of course.
Yeah, I think he could find an easier 3 later in the shot clock. They've got to continue to explore the rim first.
Jane gets it in the paint. Got it by Diallo. Battling, finds Monty. This time it's a higher percentage, and that's way off the mark.
Yeah, you can tell his rhythm is just really off right now.
Diallo working here with Silla. And Dye. Looking for an isolation. Got it by Deng. He's able to keep it alive. Senegal again. Boissy, a little bit of time. Looking for that 3-pointer. And that's going to be a 24-second violation. Now, Coach, I'd like to applaud the good defense by Uganda, but Senegal, that time I don't think they knew what they wanted on that offense.
Well, I think it's been a great adjustment to start this quarter for Uganda. You can see they're much more compact defensively, trying to make Senegal beat them from the outside, trying to avoid the fouls of the pressure. So I think this is a good move by Coach Gallinopoulos.
Well, Bonnie going for a handoff, quick 3. Comigan gets another offensive board. Uganda will get another chance. Dang, he's also made 1. That one just a little bit off. The foul is going to be drawn. Because I feel when you watch Senegal's offense, everything seems to be very fluid. When you start with that high ball screen with Jean-Jacques Boissy and Amar Silla.
Well, that's true. They had a great rhythm there towards the end of the first quarter. Surprised I haven't seen them go back to that yet here, but maybe that's something that Coach Shop is dialing up right now.
Almost 3 minutes played here in the second quarter. The 4-time champions of the FIBA AfroBasket, Senegal, still leading by 13. Diallo now kicks out. Well, there's a pump fake down the middle. Changes hands, nice move, extending their lead to 15. And Senegal now cruising.
Yeah, and I think they've got to make Gay beat them from the outside. Overextending on the closeout, letting him go by off the dribble. That's kind of been the theme of this game so far.
Twice Dang went backcourt. The backcourt players on it, or backdoor, I should say. Dang pump fakes. Oh, coach, it's the right idea. I feel for him because as Barley tried to bring into that, I'm not sure if it was a Horns offense, but that's the second time he's gone for that backdoor play where he should have got the ball. But I like the move there, but it's unfortunate he loses his balance. Yeah,
you can see he's being really aggressive, attacking out of those corners, and just unfortunate to slip on that one.
Now, Coach, you can see here, Uganda, change in defense. What are we seeing?
Yeah, you can see them coming out with a 2-3 matchup zone here. I think that's a really good move. Try to change the rhythm of this game.
Well, the second part, of course, prevents Senegal getting offensive boards. Silla finds Boissy. Kicks out. Diallo. Uncontested three is up. Wow. Coach, we were about to see the tradition of the AfroBasket, but Senegal unable to connect. And now Uganda have numbers. Capitalizing is going to be key. Bali finds Comican. Bucks goes in, and he'll get the +1. He'll go to the free throw line.
No, it's really, really great stuff there from Uganda. I love the adjustment here from Coach Gallinopoulos, going to the zone, trying to make them beat them from the perimeter, coming up with a rebound, and then getting out and running off of that. I think that's really the recipe for them to get back in this game.
Because, it's great to see where this young man has progressed in his career. Had that opportunity at 22, 23 to play with the London Lions under Ryan Schmidt, who, working with the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA. But, of course, he left London midway through the season to go and play in the Indonesian Basketball League. And, especially where I think whenever you're an import player for any of those top leagues in Asia, it says a lot about your game. But now seeing him deliver for the national team, I always look at him as you got to be the kind of player that goes for 10 and 10 in every game. You've got to be Mr. Double-Double.
Yeah, well, certainly, the import players for the Asian leagues are expected to carry a big load. So it's a great experience for him having to be, really a prominent player there, and you can see him bringing that confidence now to the national team.
Because watching him very closely when he did play in the IBL, and, wasn't able to see much of him in North Macedonia last season, is the pick and pop aspect of his game. He does work on it, but it's about finding that consistency, whatever level you're playing at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, in this case, I think, finding some perimeter shooting as well. So the length of Senegal is going to be hard on the interior. Can he bring the bigs out a little bit with that pick and pop game you talked about?
Could you speak with some of his ex-teammates, the ex-GM at London Lions? They just say Jonathan Comigan is hungry to get better. Uganda again staying in that zone matchup. Senegal just trying to figure ways to break it down. Boissy again, moving the ball solidly. Now they get a good look at the corner. Three is up, and that's patient yet deadly play from Senegal.
Yeah, great ball movement there, finding the three, but I still think that's the way Uganda has to defend. Keep them out of the paint, hope that they can miss some perimeter shots.
Well, Senegal had a chance to transition, yet again turn it over, but Uganda can capitalize. Luboa was wide open. Now he'll go for it. He'll take another three. Comigan battling for another offensive board, saves it. Opon comes up with it. 7 here on the shot clock. There's a pump fake. There's a little teardrop. But again, Comigan battling. It goes out of bounds. Well, will they go for a head coach's challenge here? Because Comigan is convinced that didn't take a last touch off him.
Well, he's really been active on the offensive rebounds this quarter, trying to do everything he can to keep Uganda in this game.
Senegal's been good at breaking the zone defense down. Yet again, they've been excellent at getting those second chances. Drop in the paint, finds Gora Camera. Little teardrop. Well, that's unfortunate because both players fought over it. One of them could have got it, but yet Uganda will get it back. A double substitution coming in for Uganda. Moni and, of course, Dang coming back into play.
Yeah, I like this sub, bringing a little more length. They're forcing the misses with the zone, but they've been struggling to come up with the boards. So now you can see, moving Kamunga over to the 4, bringing some size on the floor, seeing if they can come up with a rebound and then, kickstart their transition offense.
16 points, biggest lead of the game so far for Senegal. Luboa straight into defense. Comigan, fourth offensive board, second shots points, and that's why he's in there, Coach.
He's been great, really electric in this quarter, attacking the offensive rebounds, coming up with a lot of hustle points.
Rocco Badio back into play. Senegal patiently passing. Boissie's made 2 threes. Not going to get a third one, but Senegal yet again, another offensive rebound. Boissie with time running down. Goes in. Oh, probably should have gone himself. That's going to be an unfortunate situation. He was trying to find Diop, but credit to Uganda's defense coach, collapsing at that very crucial moment.
And that's it, right? You can see they're much tighter as a shell right now. All the help defenders ready to attack the ball if it comes towards the paint. Be interesting to see if they stay with this for the rest of the game.
Well, the question for Uganda, can you cut it down to single digits before the end of the first half? Luboa. This is good defense by Jean-Jacques Boissie. Well, Dieng had the posts up, then went away, and now here comes Senegal. Diop goes baseline. Another turnover, trying to find Camera inside the paints. Now both teams failing to take care of the basketball, so this will go back to Senegal, Coach.
Yeah, a little sloppy play there from both teams. But I think this is how Uganda needs to play. Junk up this game, try to take away the rhythm from Senegal that they found early to start things out.
Of course, a positive note for Uganda in this quarter, they haven't given away so many fouls. So there's been less trips to the free throw line here for Senegal. Badio coming off the screen. Now left wide open. He'll take this three. It's up. Still no good. But the inevitable of Senegal's offensive rebound. Here's where the foul's drawn in. It's very tough to criticize Uganda because they just don't have the size and physicality to keep Senegal off the offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's a real challenge for them. They're undersized at almost every position there, but they just have to find a way. Hit bodies early on, try as best they can to keep them out of the paint.
Contested three in the corner. Moni comes up with it because they scored the last bucket. They'd like to go on a 2-possession run. Luboa thought about it. Now penetrates, goes in, avoids a block. And what a tough play.
Oh, that's a great finish there over the length of the big, rotating over. Really nice job there on the drive.
Well, Senegal's not going to lose their confidence from the three-point line. If they're open, they got to take it. But this zone defense, Coach, has it caused problems for them? That's my question.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can see a real change in this quarter versus the first. They've eliminated a lot of the fouling. Now if they can just come up with rebounds, I think they can claw their way back into this game.
This is very similar, if you did follow, to anybody watching, if you did follow Senegal within the FIBA AfroBasket qualifiers, they play very organized, high-tempo, meticulous basketball. But they do have games where they struggle from the three-point line, and then they lose their confidence whether they want to take shots from the perimeter or not.
And that's the real issue, right? So right now they're still letting them fly from deep, but after a while these misses are going to start to get into their head.
Another good look. Another offensive board. Well, you know what? If you don't make threes, down low, you got to come up with offensive boards. And Gora Camara playing with his heart on his sleeve at the moment, Coach.
And Camara has been tremendous on the offensive rebound. So his 7th offensive rebound already in this game. Uganda has had no answer for him on the glass.
For a coach, you got to be frustrated. But at the same time, Uganda, what else can you do? You're doing everything. You've gone to a matchup. You've gone to a zone. The question at halftime is, how do we prevent Senegal from getting these offensive boards and second chance points?
Well, one thing I think they should consider is potentially just face blocking out Camara. Making sure he doesn't get it. It'll eliminate you as a rebounder, but I think taking him away as an offensive rebounder might make it worthwhile.
Well, Luboa almost turned it over, but those are the kind of turnovers you can't afford at the moment because, there are a lot of positives within Uganda's play, but don't make it easy at the moment for Senegal. I think, Coach, you've seen this in the past. They're the kind of team, they want to defend, come up with the turnover, loose ball, and then they want to run.
Well, and that was the story at the beginning of this game. So able to force those turnovers, get out in transition. Uganda's got to do a great job of taking care of the ball and getting a quality shot.
Well, tough play there. And now here comes Senegal. Barrio trying to lead the way. Down the middle, goes in, gets rejected. And that's actually going to go back to Uganda.
Yeah, great job at getting back, packing the paint in transition. You can see Senegal, really their first fast break opportunity of the second quarter. So excellent job here by Uganda, really making it a half-court game.
And that's, you know, here's where you can criticize. You cannot leave Luboa by himself, defended by 2 players. But on the previous play where I've been less critical of Uganda, a turnover, everybody makes that effort to get back.
Yeah, you know, just the consistency behind what they're doing is going to be important to get back in this game.
Well, right now, Comigan needs somebody to go to him. They need a playmaker. Comigan still has it. Well, Luboa's got to go right to him, Coach. He's got to take that responsibility.
Well, it's interesting, right? They feel that Comigan can be a pressure release for them. A little nervous with their guards out on the perimeter, so looking for their bigs to handle more there.
We're trying to go to a Pong. Nice dish up, Dang goes in, blocked from behind, but that's going to be 2 free throws. Mane committing the foul. I like that from both sets of players. 2 players on the floor. Things could have escalated, but a great job by our 3 officials preventing that from going down. I think a timeout is going to be called by Uganda, but 2 free throws will be coming up from Dang. And I like that, Coach. I like that. You got the fierce nature, the hunger, the desire to dive on the ball or to defend. And players come together, Coach. You've seen this. You've coached at the highest level. But it's the respect afterwards that you pay to each other.
No, you know, these guys all have a tremendous amount of respect for each other. Getting to this stage, obviously, is a lot of hard work involved. So, you know, that's one of the beauties of African basketball, the intensity that you see on the floor, but the sportsmanship as well.
And, of course, Coach, you talked about the beauty of African basketball. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you watch Senegalese basketball, they have possibly the most fantastic fan base. And, Coach, they've just arrived in the building.
Yeah.
If you hear the drums, if you hear the horns, Senegal has arrived in Luanda. They're right behind us at the moment. I have never seen this in person, but I'm ready for this.
No, it's going to be exciting. I mean, it's one of the great things about African basketball is the spirit of the fans. You know, it's something that I really loved, and you're really going to see it tonight when Angola plays. But obviously, you see all these fans from Senegal who have traveled and finally entering the arena here.
Well, the culture's bought. It's international basketball. The fans indeed are ready. Well, we do come back from this timeout. It's going to be 2 free throws coming up for Dang here. And, you know, Coach, going back to his game, I like the versatility. You know, he's on the perimeter. He can put the ball on the floor, but also he's got no problem posting up against players not only smaller than him, but also his own size and even bigger.
Yeah, you know, really dynamic athlete. You can see him putting a lot of pressure on the rim from that wing spot, able to draw some fouls and get to the basket. So something that definitely they're going to continue to explore as they're trying to find an offensive rhythm somewhere here.
And, you know, I look at his game, and I'm trying to think of any player that you've coached in the past where there's similarities, not the exact same. And does he kind of remind you of one of the greats of Angola, Eduardo Mingus?
Well, you know, the guy actually I was thinking of is Lionel Paulo.
Paulo, yeah, okay, that's even better, yeah.
Yeah, you know, just a guy that you know wants to get to the rim from the wing position, and even though you know it, you can't stop him from doing it. So similar body type and athleticism. Obviously, Lionel, tremendous player, fortunate to coach him. You know, we'll see how Dang Guru does throughout his career, but really promising start here.
And for those unfamiliar about those 2 players, Eduardo Mingus and Lionel Paulo, I mean, they are almost Angolan basketball gods, if you like. And, you know, go back to 2019 when you were coaching and I was commentating at the World Cup. How old was Lionel Paulo then? 36, 37? But the interesting part was 4 years later, you and I were in Manila for the World Cup. He was still playing.
And Mingus is the same. Those guys, like, their commitment to fitness is incredible. Even at those ages, you know, one of the most fit players that we would have on our team. And you know, not from just genetics. I mean, these guys were putting a lot of time in the weight room, showing our young players what it meant to be a true professional.
Well, this is good what we see now from Senegal, because now we're seeing those backcourt penetrations against Uganda's zone. And, you know, Mustafa Diop, oh no, I thought it was going to be free throws. They called the foul on the ground. So this is going to be a baseline possession. What do you make of that one?
Yeah, you know, it's tough to see if he was looking to dish it off to the big or not. But obviously the big difference in this quarter versus the first quarter, right? Like Senegal was in the bonus early on and just kept marching to the free throw line. So keeping them off the free throw line has been a big part of this quarter for Uganda.
Well, three has been made in the corner. Another tray ball goes fly, but I think the most impressive stat from today's game, Coach, so far in the first half. 34 rebounds in total for Senegal, and they almost have as many offensive boards as defensive.
Yeah, I mean, 16 offensive rebounds in the first half. It's really hard to beat any team when they get that many extra possessions.
Final seconds here. Opong's got to force it up. Tough shot, almost got it. And Carmigan, 5th offensive rebound of the game. Money finds Deng. Deng goes baseline. Nice little movement. There are the comparisons to Lionel Paolo, Coach, and that's where I've got to agree with you now.
Yeah, great finish there from Gu. You see him switching to the left hand there, get it over the length of these Senegalese bigs.
Now we have just almost 5 seconds difference. Senegal, they'll go for another 3. Contested. Make that off. Well, that's going to be a foul. That's going to be on Robinson Opong. That would have been offensive rebound number 17, but that's unfortunately for Uganda going to be another trip to the free throw line for Senegal. Leading by 13 at the moment.
Yeah, and you got to see if Uganda can find a way to close this quarter out the right way. So they'll end up with the ball in the last possession. I think it's really important here that they can execute, get a little bit of momentum going into halftime.
Well, Diop's an interesting player because he isn't currently playing at the highest level of professional basketball in France, the LNB Pro A, but he is playing in the lower divisions. He did play for Havre, which is a very historic club, but you look at his numbers, you almost feel like he's going to have that breakout season in France.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's been a really good glue guy for the Senegalese team. And, he plugs in a lot of different areas, can play the 3 or the 4. Really good defender.
Well, another turnover. Badio comes up with it. Final seconds here. They got the final shot in the first quarter. Bronco between the legs, trying to go for the lob, and that will do the end of the first half, where Senegal lead by 14 in the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. We've seen good plays from Uganda, but Coach, it has been all Senegal in my mind.
No question. Just dominant on the offensive rebounds in that first half. Early on, really executing their offense well. I like the change from Uganda going to the zone. I think it did do a good job of disrupting their offense. But, of course, they're getting these misses and finding points from the offensive board. So, interesting to see what Uganda does in the second half. Do they stay with the zone, try to find a way to rebound out of it, or do they try to pressure again like they did to start the game?
Of course, Senegal, as we mentioned, now it's 35 rebounds, 1 defensive rebound more than their offensive boards. But if we look at Uganda, of course, the key player, Deng with 12 points is leading the way, but Jonathan Carmigan, 6 points, 7 rebounds. And, it's as I said to you earlier, when years I'd speak to Sam Decker, he's very hungry, and you can see that when relentlessly going for those offensive boards.
Oh, he was great. In that second quarter, just really relentlessly attacking the old boards. I thought he gave him a really good spark in that quarter.
Well, I think the one area that we mentioned, rebounding for Uganda, but the other area as well they need to improve has been turnovers. 9 turnovers. I mean, that's not the most in the world, but you think about the level of some of these turnovers, half court, in their own half. That's something they've got to minimize, Coach.
Well, it's just the extra possessions, right? Between the turnovers and the offensive rebounds, 26 extra possessions to Senegal. They're already in a talent mismatch, so to give that many extra possessions to a team like that, going to be really hard to beat them.
Well, the pregame story indeed was the difference in these two teams. Senegal haven't won the FIBA AfroBasket since 1997. That's 28 years ago, and they won it in Dakar. For them, it's about building and reliving history. For Uganda, it's their 4th FIBA AfroBasket. It's about making history. Basketball fans, it's halftime. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back very shortly. Josh Bett and Will Voigt here at the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket.
education, health, justice. We sometimes take these simple things for granted. They're not common for all of us. We are all born on the same planet, but not with the same opportunities.
Whatever our gender, color, belief, or capability, we are one. We are all on the same team. Let's convince those who never thought they would do it that they can. We can. Together, we are stronger. No matter your origin, basketball can bring everyone together. Basketball for good.
Hanging on the rim and keeping the hopes alive. Who's going to take the shot is going to go to Cougar. He's got the ball. Hayes, you got to box him out. Here goes Jimmy Jamrai by with a turnaround. And Jimmy Jamrai by experience, and he has been doing it all day long, folks. Where did that come from?
Holy cow, what a pass and what a finish.
Gonzalez takes it away. Oh, and he dunked it. And he looks at him.
Wow. He knew he was there, Jeff. Just waited for him and then crushed it through the hoop. Big time slam.
Like today, the opening day of the AfroBasket. The ball inbounded. Almeida put it on the highlight reel. Unbelievable. He inbounded the ball off the back of one of African basketball's greats, Carlos Moraes. Mamadou Faye into Ibrahima Faye, goes up for the dunk. He doesn't make it. Quickly to Fofana. Go! Unbelievable. What a turnaround for the Elephants.
Incredible explosion of offense and defense from Les Elephants.
Conde behind the back pass to Conde, and the foul. Goodness me. Put it on the highlight reel.
Yeah, beautiful behind the back. That's where they want it, sideline.
Turned it over, not what you want out of a timeout. You pass to Junior Madut. Look at this play, the pass and the flush to Madut. Now Dwayne Dean goes behind his back. Entry pass again.
Holy cow. Incredible play by Ding. And the finish by Kuth. He's becoming a problem for Uganda.
Oh, goodness me!
Oh my God!
Where did that come from? The elevation. Let's see if that ignites Kenya. This is the dunk of the tournament. Oh my goodness. That is unbelievable.
These guys will be legends in their own country, but also in the international basketball world forever.
That was a great time.
Well, hello and welcome back, everybody, to Luanda, Angola for the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket, the opening game in which Senegal currently have a 16-point cushion over Uganda. Josh Bett calling this one live with former head coach of both Nigeria and Angola, Will Voigt. And Coach, well, I think it's been as expected so far. Senegal, the heavy favorites in this matchup, but there is a lot of good signs so far in what we have seen from this Ugandan team.
Well, I really like the adjustment they made in the second quarter, going to the zone, staying a little bit more compact defensively, hoping that Senegal misses from the outside. But they've got to find a way to rebound these misses.
Well, of course, Senegal have dominated the rebounds. Almost as many offensive boards as defensive. And, that is probably going to be the biggest talking point in the halftime locker room. But, if you're Uganda, you're doing everything you can. You went to the matchup man-to-man, then you deviated into a zone, which did cause problems. But the question is, how do you stop Senegal getting second chance points?
Well, obviously Senegal has a size advantage that makes it difficult from the jump. But I liked what they did at the end of the second quarter. So they went with their bigger lineup. Moving Moni over there with the 4 and really bringing as much size as they can. So they had Dangu playing the 3, Kamunga also on the floor. I think that's their only answer. Bring the 3 bigs in, let them play together, hope that you can get a rebound and get out and run in transition.
Well, Senegal definitely possessing 2 of the most exciting backcourt players in the tournament, Branco Badio and Jean-Jacques Boissy. And maybe with Branco Badio doesn't have the area of strength in terms of three-point shooting, that is what Jean-Jacques Boissy delivers. But as I said, Coach, simply undeniable. These 2, they are terrifying to go up when they're defending you in the full court.
Well, they really were wreaking havoc early in the game, and then Boissy came onto the court. I thought really gave great minutes. They found a nice combination with their pick and roll there. Him and Silla connecting quite a bit at the end of the first quarter. But yeah, it's a dynamic duo. There's a reason why they went undefeated in qualifiers.
Well, the qualifications were very exciting. They did begin in February 2024, of course. The qualifiers for all the continents. But for the AfroBasket, it's a very unique competition because you see some very exciting players who play at the highest and most elite level of world basketball, whether that be in Europe, Basketball Champions League, whether it be the elite levels as the NBA. And, as we alluded to some of these players, in the case of Jonathan Kamagum, who did play in the Indonesian Basketball League, you get the very best. And, what better way than to see them represent their countries?
No question. The experience that they can also bring to their national team, having played at such a high level, is always great to see. But, AfroBasket is a tournament filled with pressure. And I think it's always fun to watch who will step up in those moments. So whether you played in ACB or at any level, playing for your national team is a whole different level of pressure.
For those who have just joined us, who may be unfamiliar with, your level of elite coaching, you coached 2 of the best teams in the history of FIBA AfroBasket. Angola being the greatest, Nigeria having won the 2015 FIBA AfroBasket with Ike Diago. But what is your most memorable moment, a moment that maybe it's not necessarily a win or a victory, but a moment that will live forever in your mind at this competition?
Well, certainly 2015 was a magical run for us, the only championship that Nigeria has ever won. And there was a lot of hardship that we had to overcome. So what people forget, and you even named it, Ike Diago got hurt right before that tournament. So our captain, our best player, didn't play. He was out for the whole tournament. So we had to find a way with other guys stepping up. So that was really a magical run for us.
We saw Nigeria come in for their shoot-arounds. They have Okoye with them, and they have a very, talented team. The question will be, can the Tigers make their way to the podium? That is going to be interesting. The AfroBasket defending champions, Tunisia, they're also in town. But, many are saying, Coach, Angola at home, they have that advantage. They got Bruno Fernando, Gilson Bango, Shilde Dundao, and Luceni. Many players you're familiar with. Could it be the home team's time? But, maybe Senegal will have something to say about that.
I think, we're really looking at 2 of the favorites there. I think Angola having the home court advantage, and with the talent that they have here on this year's team, probably the overall favorite. But Senegal obviously playing with a ton of confidence from the qualification rounds and, early on here in this first game.
And what's significant about Senegal, we talked about this midway through the second quarter. Someone as myself who absolutely loves international basketball all over, and there's a lot of hidden gems. Senegal, for me, just have the most unique fan base. They come with the drums. They come with the horns. They've just entered the arena as of the second quarter. And I think we're going to see that all tournament long. If they play Angola and this arena's filled, you're going to see a magnificent moment, not only in AfroBasket history, but international basketball.
Oh, no question. You know, the energy that these fans bring to their teams is really special and unique to Africa. I think it's going to be a real treat as we move on and more fans come to the arena.
Senegal getting first play here in the second half, leading by, well, the score is actually a 14-point lead. We have corrected that. Cora Camara has been one of their key players along with Branco Badio. This is good defense by Money, but isn't enough. Opong comes up with it. Well, Comagum is going to start. Remember, 6.7 rebounds so far. Money penetrates, bit of contact. We'll make that the eighth rebound now for Comagum. 3 goes up, and that's a good way. Dang, now 15 points, leading for Uganda.
Yeah, great start. You can see them starting this half with that big lineup that they experimented with at the end of the second quarter. So I really like the move, going with Dangu at the 3, Comagum at the 4 now with Moni at the 5, and you can see Comagum picking up where he left off on the offensive rebounds.
Mane just getting, I think, a finger scrapped to the face, but Opong going up to apologize. And is Opong probably up there in terms of the greatest players in the history of Uganda?
Oh, I think without question. He's had so many big games. Really hasn't found his rhythm yet in this game, but this is a guy that can really get going from the perimeter.
Well, another missed 3, but yet again, another offensive board. That puts it level. As many offensive rebounds as defensive now for Senegal. Camara going up against Comagum. Comagum, get out of here, he said. Oh, Jonathan Comagum making differences now for Uganda.
Yeah, he has really come to play today. Been really impressed with his energy levels and now confidence. You see it growing as he gets more and more minutes here.
And even that case not coming up with it. But here comes Senegal. Oh, inadverted. That's going to remain Senegal ball.
I think the refs missed that one. Really looked like he deflected it off the leg there. Be interesting to see if coach challenges this one.
Well, he had an opportunity in the first half with Comagum, but he decided not to. Maybe he's saving it, possibly.
Well, you really do. You know, as a head coach, you don't want to use them too early. But you also want to make sure when you use it, it's on one that you know you're right.
High screen coming from Camara. Mane still has it. Well, they'll go for a 3. They've made a few tonight. Comagum wanting that double-double tonight. I said it, coach. He's got to be 10 and 10. But Lubo out of control. Keeps it alive. Dave made his last 3 with 15. Almost got it. But here comes Senegal and Badio. Badio twisting, turning. Again, had an option. That's going to be an out-of-bounds violation.
Yeah, really bad decision there from Badio. Had a very simple drop-off there to Jop and instead tried to force the shot.
It's only an 11-point ball game. Uganda, if they can organize themselves offensively, could potentially find a way in. Monty, give it go with Comagum. Quick 3. That's a little too short. Well, here we go. That's going to be an unsportsmanlike foul, surely. Well, there was a hand in the back.
Yeah, I think they're lucky there to avoid that. And that's twice in a row that their floor balance has not been good. There have been leak outs twice from Senegal. No player back in transition defense for Uganda. So they've got to figure out when they're crashing the offense and rebounds, who is it that's going to stay back and protect the paint for them?
Well, I think there's going to be a review of this, coach. First glance, it did look like, you know, there was an attempt to block, but the second arm, it did look like there was a bit of excessive contact coming, but they're going to make a decision when they see this one, which this could be poor here for Uganda, because if it does get upgraded, Senegal will get 2 free throws, and they would get the ball back if, and I mean only if, this is going to be upgraded.
Yeah, I think this will be upgraded. Unfortunate break if that's the case for Uganda. You know, I like the way they've started this half. I think they have really found something with that bigger lineup, staying with the zone, able to rebound a little bit better out of that. Now they just have to be careful not to give Senegal anything that's going to create some momentum back in their favor.
Because this is quite an exciting group if you think about it, because, you know, with these two teams, it's Group D, of course. but you also have Mali. Mali have a lot of talent in their team. And what I like about Mali basketball, many of these players we're seeing in the FIBA AfroBasket were a part of that historic U19 team back in 2019, I believe it was, at the World Cup. So they're a team also hungry to build their history, but you can't take Egypt out of the equation, especially when you got a player like Anas, former Louisville player. That is the level of play we have at this AfroBasket.
Yeah, you know, fortunate to coach Anas.
At Zamalek, yeah.
Yeah, at Zamalek. Unbelievable athlete. You know, really fun player to watch.
And I remember that FIBA ICC, the Intercontinental Cup that was hosted, I believe it was Alexandria, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Because you had Anas, you had Ike Diagu. I mean, the team was, you know, defending champions of the BAO, of course, but you could clearly see that this is a team on any other given day could really mix it up. And who's to say they had one of the best coaches in the world?
Well, I appreciate that plug, but those players made it easy for me. So, you know, a lot of great guys on that team. But Anas, you know, obviously, as you mentioned, starting out at Louisville, but what he can do at that size, really special.
Who did you play in the semifinals? Was it Flamengo or was it San Pablo Burgos?
It was Burgos.
Unfortunately
for us, you know, they obviously were the BCL champions that year, and you know, great representative coming out of ACB.
Well, the decision has been upgraded, so it was an unsportsmanlike foul. So Senegal only converting one free throw, getting it back, leading by 12 points. Over 2 minutes played here in the third quarter. Senegal again going to a high ball screen. Badio look for an ISO. This is good defense by Uganda, but is it enough? Final seconds now. Over tough contested fadeaway.
Yeah, great defensive possession there. Continuing with that tight shell mentality. Really nice job.
Well, they want to go to this dribble handoff sequence. If they need a primary ball handler, and a foul is going to be committed by Branco Badio. I like this dribble handoff sequence we're seeing from Uganda. You know, what do you make of this offense from Uganda, Coach?
Well, you know, they want to utilize their bigs in what we would call delay action, but that's where you're hitting the big, looking to come back, get a handoff from them. So you can see both of the bigs comfortable out on the perimeter in those situations. We've seen Moni take a lot of threes. Here he is with another one. Hasn't been able to capitalize yet, though.
Well, Uganda contesting, but now Senegal running. Another take goes in. That's the case, and that's got to infuriate you, Coach, because only one Ugandan player made the effort to get back.
Well, and this is the third time now in this quarter where they've had nobody back protecting the paint. So, you know, obviously they're trying to attack the offensive boards, but they have to find that floor balance when they do it.
Dang, now moving up to 17 points. Solid step through. Senegalese fans definitely enjoyed the occasion. The band has come out. Mane picked up by when there's a mismatch. Camera goes in, bit of contact. Too big, too strong, and simply just too good.
Yeah, great finish there from Camera. You saw Uganda bring the double team from the baseline, but Camera just too big for this Uganda team.
Well, turnover. No, it's going to be a kick ball violation. So Uganda's going to get it back with a fresh 14. Almost 4 minutes played here in the third quarter.
Late whistle there from the official, but the right call.
That's a nice matchup. Uganda of East Africa currently up against one of the giants of the AfroBasket, you know, of West Africa. But I think it's very fair to say that, you know, two countries, very different basketball cultures maybe.
No question. You know, Uganda's still building their legacy. You know, Coach George Gallinopoulos, Mike Schmitz, they've done an excellent job taking that program to the heights that it is now. But you know, still another step to go, I think, to be on the level of Senegal and some of these other top teams.
Well, Mani isolated, doesn't come up with it, but it's going to remain Uganda ball. But again, both Comican and Mani battling there, and that's what you want to see from them.
Yeah, you know, really aggressive there, and they're going to have to be. I mean, this is going to be a battle for every rebound.
12 seconds on the shot clock. Uganda now getting it bound. Mani again. So there's a step through, and again, get it rejected. Good defense. Here's where Senegal want to play high pace. Badio, nice dime. Body reverse slip, and again Money with the defense.
Yeah, great play there for Money, and that's what's been lacking, having somebody back to protect the rim in those moments.
A lot of control step through. Uganda's defense just hasn't matched the offense. But Money diving. Senegal coming up with the 50-50. Badio, wide open, three. And he's had those good looks, coach, but he hasn't been able to knock him down consistently.
Yeah, really struggling so far from the perimeter to find that rhythm.
Still only 14 points separates these two teams. Luboa has Comigan, pump fakes, another pump fake. Comes out again, and now moving up to 8 points.
Yeah, great job of sticking with the play there. Comigan continues to deliver for Uganda.
You gotta get the feeling, if Uganda keeps this to single digits going into the fourth, it could be a world of difference for them. It's another turnover, cross-court pass.
Yeah, bad decision there.
The camera going for a post-up. Now has the mismatch. Uganda's got to send a double team. Because if they don't, coach, that's going to be inevitable.
Yeah, you know, the previous play, Moni came over double team. Kamara is still able to finish over him, but you're absolutely right. They're just too big. It's going to be hard to play those guys one-on-one in the post.
Wobbler out of control. Almost turning it over, does just that. But that's a question I've got. Is Senegal haven't been consistent from the three-point line, so why not take that gamble, send that double team?
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't come that last possession. I think that might have been a mistake by Moni, because I know previously they had sent the double team there.
And now they got the switch. Badio, defended by Comigan, goes in, gets rejected. Well, Comigan said goodbye.
Man, he has really come to play today. What a great debut here for him. You can see here with the block, Uganda going with the switches versus the pick and roll, trusting their bigs to handle the guards, and Comigan with an excellent job there.
And I like that switch. He may not have the foot speed to defend one-on-one, but get out of my house, said Comigan. Final seconds, Senegal another three. This time, Uganda is able to come up with a rebound. Well, Comigan maybe trying to market himself as a point forward at the moment. Opong not finding the space. They'll go for another handoff. And again, Senegal know it's coming, but Opong fakes the pass, and now Senegal defending the paint. That's going to remain Uganda ball with 5 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, Opong really struggling to find any separation to get his shot off. Senegal doing a great job on him this game.
Uget has subbed into the game, but not just now. He's been in there for the last minutes. But as mentioned, Uganda only have 5 seconds. They are down by 14. Deng's got to go to work. Deng down the middle, 17, jump hook. Comigan battling, but Boissy comes up with it. The Lions have numbers, here we go. Oh my goodness! Welcome to the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket.
Great finish there from Job, but obviously it's Senegal getting out and running with numbers, something they've been able to do in this third quarter, similar to how they started the game. They really want to get out and run, and the highlight finish there from Job.
Everybody's been waiting for that one moment. Senegal in transition. Let's listen now to the coach of Uganda.
Keep going, man. Yo, we're not one of them teams that can afford to not do the little things. A low man is a dunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone got to make sure we're just on point with our sets and where we're supposed to be. And communicate with each other, all right? Let's keep fighting, man. This shit not over, man.
Hey, sprint to your spot. It's going to be easier. It's going to be easier.
A play at a time, but execute on point. You know what I'm saying? Let's stay locked in.
Let's go, Red. Let's go, Red. Got Rob on the backside. Here's what we got, okay? We're going to call this Horns 45, okay? The first play we're going to run jacks. You got to get the ball beyond, okay? As that's happening, TJ, look to go this way, okay? Set a stagger for Rob, okay? As that's happening, Jackson wants you to take a look at it, right? Take a look at it, take one dribble, and then turn. Take another dribble. Dang, go back door.
Let's go.
Dang, you're in, right?
Well, Gora Camara at the moment has been the indestructible force inside the paint for Senegal. Remember, they are chasing their 5th FIBA AfroBasket championship. And coach, 28 years is a very long time.
Yeah, it really is. And, funny, speaking with Mokhtar Njai before the game, the GM for this Senegalese team and a member of that last team, it's something that they remember very well. So they feel that this team has a chance to reach the podium, and obviously a lot of pressure for this group to succeed here in Angola.
Well, it is a 16-point lead currently to the Lions. Another turnover. Now Senegal on a run. Diallo goes in, now making it an 18-point lead. That's good transition. It's the case. I say this about a lot of good international teams, whether it's club basketball, basketball Champions League, or here at the FIBA AfroBasket. A team like Senegal, coach, you know this. You make mistakes, they'll make you pay. You get things right, they get the ball inbound, they'll still make you pay.
Well, that's where they've been excellent, getting out in transition. You see it here again, doing a really good job on rebounds and turnovers and pushing the pace.
What I like about Senegal, they play organized basketball, but the key thing for them, coach, to be a champion on the podium, you've got to be clinical. You've got to make every three-point shot count. They get good looks, but it's the consistency.
Well, I think that's going to be the question mark for this team in this tournament. Can they make enough perimeter shots to balance the length and size that they have in the front court?
Well, almost 2 minutes left here in the third quarter. Biggest lead of the game for the Lions. Bong trying to guard Diop. Camara trying to set that screen. Nice little Euro step, and now making it a 20-point lead for the first time.
Yeah, great finish there from Diop. Senegal finding the answer here. I thought Uganda had done a nice job climbing back into this game, but a timely run here from Senegal.
Well, Boissy hanging, gets his own rebound. And Dye finds Camara. Missed a double-double tonight already. Well, there's a pump fake. There's a step back in the corner. Another good look, but unable to capitalize. Because, Coach, I want your opinion on Rouget, because on the previous play, the sort of open floor where he made that penetration, doesn't connect, of course, but for a young player, is that the confidence you really want to see more of?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job in the first half, coming in, getting downhill, putting some pressure on the rim a little bit. And especially now that the lead has expanded, they might have to go to a more up-tempo game than they want. He's going to become really important in that kind of setting.
Now we're looking at Senegal, of course. I mean, one thing that's going to help them in a championship quest. Nice move by Rouget, and he'll go to the free throw line. That's a tough play, and what I like about him, Coach, he reads the game.
Well, great Euro step finish there from Rouget. Continuing to put pressure on the rim. You see him get around the big there on the finish. He's shown some really great flashes here for his debut at AfroBasket.
Well, to all of our international viewers watching this live, the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket, TJ Rouget was starting with the team in London, the Richmond Knights. And as I mentioned, been playing men's basketball since the age of 12. Senegal still leading by 18. It's now under a minute to go here in the third quarter. Foul has been committed. Well, the previous thing I was going to mention about Senegal prior to that M1 move by TJ Rouget is they've got depth. They've got a number of players that they can bring into the game. And third quarter, we've only just seen Senegal now, and I'd argue he's probably one of their best players.
Well, and even Ousmane Njai, who was one of their leading scorers throughout the qualifiers, really has not done much in this game. So they can come at you with a lot of firepower, a lot of players that you have to know on that scouting report how to stop.
They now finding Silla. The time is winding down. Senegal's going to have to take this. Quick three, beat the shot clock. The bank is open. Well, he's been waiting for that one.
Well, he must have heard me talking about him. Maybe that's the shot that gets him going.
Uganda can now have the final shot, but a foul is going to be committed by Diallo. He's got a few times to die with that step back. He tried one in the quarter, almost got it, but hey, the bank was open.
Well, that is his game. You know, he's a perimeter shooting big, shot really, really well in qualifications, over 40% from three. You know, obviously struggled a little bit here, but this is a guy that can get going.
Well, we have actually is 10.4 seconds left here. Trying to find Carmigan on the roll. Ruget comes up. That's a bit of a tough one. That's not going to go. Now there's a final second left. I don't think he's aware, but that will do it. Senegal heading into the final 10. That won't count with a 21-point lead against Uganda in the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. Coach, Senegal, you know, they've been great, but had they been as good as we think they should be?
Well, you know, a really great run to finish the quarter there. I think they've had their struggles, though. You know, Uganda has shown a little bit what the weakness of Senegal could be with the perimeter shooting. For them to be truly dominant this tournament, I think they're going to have to be more consistent from three.
Well, both teams have only made a total of 8 3-pointers. I mean, Senegal have attempted 30, and that's a question I have is, you know, we know they're going to be a team that competes, you know, at the very best in the quarterfinals. So I would say they could be on the podium, but you put them up against a Cote d'Ivoire, an Angola, a South Sudan, and Tunisia. That is where you're really going to be tested.
Yeah, no question. And, you know, no knock against Uganda, but this is not really the challenge that Senegal is going to be facing as they move on to the tournament. How they respond when they go up against those top teams will be interesting to see.
Well, it's been a good start so far for Senegal. They're going to have to try and close this out. But, yeah, there was a passage in that third quarter. Uganda were down by 11. Defensively, they were matching up very well with Senegal. It was offensively. They just didn't have that rhythm, that identity or consistency in their play, Coach.
Yeah, you know, I think that last spurt by Senegal at the end of the quarter is really tough for Uganda. I liked what they did to start out the half. You know, starting it out with their big lineup, staying in that zone, forcing a lot of misses. I think they made some transition mistakes that hurt them, and then that allowed Senegal to find their rhythm and close out the quarter on a strong note.
And, you know, we have to remember, of course, Uganda. It's a team that, you know, have done magnificently to qualify for their 4th FIBA AfroBasket. Again, when you have players like Brandon Davis in the past, they're always an easy go-to play. Now, Jackson Money, he's had a very elite time. NCAA Division II for 3 years. Very good senior season at North Dakota State. He's going to have to take a bit of time. But basketball fans, use that QR code, of course, and download Courtside 1891 to get the best stream schedules and scores. The home of international basketball, Courtside 1891. And going back to Jackson Money, maybe this is the game for him. Look back, think about things. You go through the experience. You almost go through the test and, you know, build that confidence, I guess, because the test is going to get tougher. You have to go against Mali. You have to go against Egypt. But, you know, basketball, it's always an education. It's always a platform you got to build on.
Yeah, no question. And you know, Uganda went from potentially an experienced team here, had they had Arthur Kaluma, Ish Muhammad on this roster, to now introducing a lot of young players. And Moni obviously having his struggles here in his first game. So I think all things considered, Coach Gallinopoulos, Coach Schmitz, they've done a nice job of trying to keep this game close. They can just find a way to finish these rebounds and keep Senegal out of transition. Hopefully they can climb back in and make this a close game.
Well, now Madi defended by Boissy, and that's what he's got to do. He's got to be fearless. He's got to take matters into his own hands.
Yeah, and we saw that from him in the first half where they got the switch, went to him in the post. I'd like to see more of that from him. Obviously his three-point game not there today, but can he find other ways to contribute?
Well, there you have it. That is the 10th rebound of the game for Carmigan. He's one field goal away from a double-double, and that's going to be huge for him. That's going to go out of bounds. Senegal went for the double team. Boissy, unfortunately, did get the last touch, but if it's one thing I like about Senegal, it's this absolute ferocious defensive nature, Coach.
Yeah, they just come at you with so many bodies. You can see the pressure that they apply on the perimeter, and then they always have a big waiting for you at the rim. Really hard to score against.
Well, LeBeau makes the penetration, draws a foul, so he'll go to the free throw line. Well, a chance to cut this down potentially to a 17-point deficit. And LeBeau, just like Ruget as well, they have that spark about their play. And I guess The question for them is when you go up against Egypt, and there's still 9 minutes of play left, it's the ability to read the defenders, find those openings, and if anything, just keep getting to the charity stripe.
No question. And a player like Robinson Opong, which clearly he's gotten a lot of attention from Senegal, he needs those guards to break down the defense and try to create shots for him on kickouts. So they've had a hard time getting any open look for Opong in this game.
I like this now. A bit of full court pressure coming from Uganda. How can they disrupt Senegal's play? Coach, this zone defense, how do you identify it?
Well, they've gone with different looks. This one looking more like a 3-2, but all of them have been matchups. So they're finding the man in their area, really trying to make sure that they're not just grounded to one space in the zone.
Well, great hustle by Comigan. Uganda comes up. Nice Euro step. Monty goes in. Finishes. Now make that. That is going to be indeed a 6-0 run from Uganda.
Yeah, great finish there from Monty with the Euro step.
Oh, the pick and popping. That man again. He picketh, he poppeth, and he maketh or drilleth the big triple. But this is a worrying sign. Monty's on the floor. That is not a good sign.
Yeah, that's really concerning. He's holding the back of his foot. I always get concerned about Achilles injuries when I see that.
Well, right now, I thought Sabrez go with him because he looks like he's in a world of pain. So I don't know if that's Achilles or because the ankle is actually, I'm hoping that is not a dislocation. Because we can see, he's right in front of us now, Coach, but if you can see the ankle is kind of going in.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I didn't see anything that might have caused it. That's where my concern comes in. The Achilles injuries happen when you're planting. The ankle turns, usually there's some contact, you come down on a foot, you land funny, and I didn't see that from him. The best case scenario, maybe it's just a cramp, but obviously you don't like seeing this.
Because people need to remember, still a very young man, just out of the NCAA, the Summer League with the San Antonio Spurs, and we can see that potential, Coach. And I think right now you just started to see him build that confidence. 2 field goals here in the fourth quarter, but that's a worrying sign to say the least.
No, you just never want to see any players sustain an injury like that, and especially right now in his debut, starting to find a little bit of rhythm in this quarter, and really breaks your heart to see this right now.
But now, big moment for Uganda because Dang's got 17, he's led the way. So the question is, are they going to bring Opong back in the lineup? So here's where leadership experience needs to be invaluable.
Well, and this is something that, Robinson Opong is used to. So they use him as an undersized 4 where they can pick and pop and he can find shots. So maybe that's something they'll go back to, see if they can find him an open look that way.
Well, 8:33 to go here in the fourth quarter. Opening game not only for the FIBA AfroBasket, but here in Group D. No doubt both Mali and Egypt will be watching this game closely. Womala. Now finding Luboa. Luboa finds a gap. Goes in. Nice move. And another and one. Coach, where has this man been all game?
Yeah, that's the penetration that they need from him. Getting downhill, attacking the bigs. They're going to need more of that to come back into this game.
And what makes him tough, Coach, like Lucchini of Angola, he's left-handed, which makes him a nightmare to defend.
Yeah, he's found that left-handed finish over the Senegalese bigs a couple of times now.
And it does indeed. The score is actually 63 to Senegal, 47 to Uganda, so it's actually, 48, excuse me. It's a 15-point deficit. That is the score we have currently here in Luanda. There's a pump fake. Kicks out, finds Ndai. He's had a hot hand so far. This is good ball move from Senegal. Boissy, he's made 2 threes tonight, but now did he get it off in time?
That was close. Really good patience there from Senegal.
And Coach, that's the one time I'm actually going to critique Uganda. Listen, they gave away the offensive rebound. That's happened all game. That is too easy there for Jean-Jacques Boissy.
No, there's no question. I think in that case, they're a little deflated. Great defensive possession. And then at the very end, you give up the offensive rebound, but you're absolutely right. They're going to need a sustained effort to get back in this game.
Well, Leboa's had his way. Bit of contact. Not going to get it. Silla comes up with it. This man wants to add a second championship to the calendar year. FIBA Europe champion with Bilbao. And he'd like to be a FIBA AfroBasket championship. Great take by Boissy. No foul called. And that's going to go back to Uganda. For Jean-Jacques Boissy imminent. That did not come off of him.
Yeah, it was hard to see on that play. Maybe forced the penetration a little bit, but Boissy's really had his way with Uganda in this game, able to get downhill almost at will.
Almost 3 minutes here in the fourth quarter. Leboa trying to find Deng. Leading scorer tonight for Uganda with 17. But here comes the veteran, Opong. Hangs in the air, no foul. Oh yeah, the foul has been called. And coach, that is the experience of Opong, because he knows he's not going to get that floater off against Silla, but he hangs in the air just to wait for the foul.
Well, and you know, Opong is a scorer, and he's had to change his game. Really wants to be a jump shooter, but Senegal's done a great job not giving him any perimeter looks. So the crafty vet finding a way to get to the line. He'll have to do more of that to get Senegal to back off some of their pressure.
Well, a timeout is going to be called. These two coaches will have a few words. We'll head down. I believe we're going to go down to here. Sagana Diop, and we'll try to hear his thoughts. 6:47 to go here in the fourth and final quarter. Well, Coach, now we'll look at some highlights here, and I think, you know, if we compare that play to what we saw earlier in the first half, you know, well, only Leboa getting back in Deng, but I think when we saw Senegal making those efforts to get back, the difference is they came up with those loose balls. They came up with those chances.
Well, you know, that was early on in the third quarter. Uganda looking to what's called tag up. So they're sending everybody to the offensive rebounds, but you're trying to keep your man in front while you're doing that. So there were a couple of times Senegal was able to leak out behind the defense, find easy baskets, and I think that's what fed into their late run to push this lead out.
Hey, Coach, look right there, Mustafa Diop, 2 points away from a double-double, and I'd say this is a good game for him. My goodness gracious, what would a great game look for Mustafa Diop?
Well, you know, a couple of highlight dunks from him here, and this is what he does. He finds what is needed from him with this team. So there are other guys who are going to put up more points, but Mustafa Diop always looking for what area he can contribute to winning from game to game.
You know, you coach in international basketball. I've commentated international basketball. If you look at Robinson Opong, he has played all over the world. Now, people would look at an NBA player. Many clubs, you think, is that a good player? Is there issues? But international play, if you played all over the world, that speaks volumes in my mind.
No question. Able to blend in any system because of his ability to make shots.
Nice seal off by Amar Silla. Wanted the contact. I'm telling you, Coach, I think he's one of their best players. He is so underrated.
They have so many guys that they can bring into this game and contribute. Obviously, Silla being one of them.
Well, great defense. That's going to be a foul against Robinson Opong. But you know, going back to Amar Silla, a lot of people, when he started as a youth player in Madrid, there was the comparisons with Pascal Siakam. But you know, he had that opportunity with Falou Ostend in the Basketball Champions League, then went to Lithuania. But you know, where is he now in his late 20s? I think there's still a lot of great to come from the FIBA Euro Cup champion.
Oh, no question, and maybe this is the tournament where he can break out. You know, really was rock solid for them in their qualification games and shot the ball really well from three. So 47.8% from three in qualifiers. If he shoots at that level here, he's going to turn a lot of heads in Europe and abroad.
Okay, down the middle, defense completely full. That might have been the best sequence against Uganda's zone defense from Senegal.
Yeah, great cut there from Gay, finding the seam in that zone.
Well, the ball went out of bounds, came directly to us, and it's going to be sideline possession out to Uganda under 6 minutes. Right there. That's beautiful, Coach. That is beautiful.
Yeah, great cut. And also, you know, credit to Usman Njai, seeing the cutter, delivering the pass there on time.
Well, that takes another deflection. That's going to remain Senegal. You know, I've also wanted to ask this. How much, you know, and I love the BAL. I absolutely love the Basketball Africa League. How much great has it done also for the AfroBasket?
Oh, no question, right? Just another big stage that these players are able to play at. And that experience is so invaluable when you get to the AfroBasket tournament. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough to coach in it. Obviously, I watch it as a fan as well. Really a great development on the continent for basketball.
Well, it's getting better and better every year. Silla catching a tough one. Finds Gay. Gay has his way around, goes in, finishes under intense pressure.
Yeah, another great finish there from Gay, and he's finding the gap in that zone twice now, penetrating and cutting from the top.
21-point lead currently to Senegal. Dang's led the way for Uganda. Wamala tries to find an opening. Just can't finish, but Comigan getting another offensive board, but that unfortunately is going to go out of bounds, and that's going to be, you can't critique that, Coach, because Comigan's fighting, you know, he's trying to find anybody at that stage, but, well, here's another, look at that take by Gay, and that is tough. That is tough, especially the game Comigan's having 2 blocks already.
Yeah, no, great finish there from Gay. You can see he's kind of found the seam that he can attack from. Be interesting to see if they go back to that again here.
Well, it's only a reset of 14. Gay finds Diallo. Diallo trying to find anyone, but nobody there at the moment. But Uganda's got to play for pride. Remember, they've got 2 more games left against Mali and against Egypt. Well, Senegal may have filled that, you know, they've done enough here, but, you know, never say never here in international basketball. They're going for a 3. This one's up. Another offensive rebound from the weak side. Wasi down the middle. Wasi trying to bully his way. Comigan well over 10 rebounds. But still needs 1 more field goal for that double-double. Still comes up with it. And there's a penetration by Gay. Nowhere to go here. Good help side defense by Comigan. Well, he's made a few 3s tonight. He'll go for another one. But again, it's another offensive board. Silla, he's made a few for Bilbao. That's a good look for him, Coach. He's got to take more of those.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's the shot that's going to make him a difference maker. So great job in qualification games of knocking that down. When he's able to hit that perimeter 3, just brings a whole nother dimension to his game and what he can bring to Senegal.
Well, especially if you think about his time with Falou Ostend in the Basketball Champions League under the great Dario Judge, but a phenomenal season last year in Bilbao. Wasi, offensive rebound. Coach, is that bully basketball or is that not acceptable from the defense?
Well, you know, I'd like to see a little bit more fight there from Uganda, but Wasi has had his way all game. Obviously a tremendous athlete, but able to get to the rim against these Uganda guards.
Boa going back to his left. There's a kick out. Wide open. Dang with 17. Not going to get it. He's now under 3.5. Here we go. Good night. And as they say in Senegal, wow, wow, baby. Wow, wow. Maybe we're going to see it again, Coach. Well, here you go. The follow-up. Another offensive board. Well, Coach, that is trademark Senegalese basketball. There's no doubt about it. As they say, wow, wow, baby.
Yeah, tremendous pass there from Boissy, and this is where they're at their most dangerous. When you get these athletes into the open court, very difficult to control, and you can see Uganda's had their problems stopping them in transition.
Well, timeout has been called with 3:07 to go. Senegal with their biggest lead of the night at 25 points, but you got to think this timeout for Uganda. Listen, 3:07, however long is left, you got to play for pride.
Well, obviously, you know, you need to regroup a little bit, and point differential is always important in these tournaments. I think this is probably something Coach Gallinopoulos is going to remind his guys.
Well, of course, we are in the final moments of this game now, Coach, and I think when we look at Senegal, are they going to be one of the favorites? I mean, look, for me, they play beautiful basketball. Consistency where they get high percentage looks, that is going to be the difference when you go up against defending champions. South Sudan, who, remind you, did make the Olympics last summer and, you know, really put themselves on the world stage, but also Angola as well. Some great teams in this AfroBasket, but can Senegal get to the podium?
Well, I think absolutely they've got to be one of the favorites. And if they get the guard play from both of them, right? So Badio really, you know, not a big game for him today, but Boissy able to fill that void. When you get both of those guys clicking with the front court depth that they have, I think that's when they're going to be tough to stop.
Well, a lot for him to think about. Remember, 2 big games coming up for him after this one and his team. You got Egypt and you got Mali. Mali, it's a case of the young and upcoming rising superstars. And Mali has always had a great tradition, Coach, of always getting to a FIBA U17 or a U19 World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, their junior program, some of the best on the continent. Their men's team has yet to match that level of success. And that's the challenge of AfroBasket, right? Obviously, today did not go their way for Uganda, but you have to regroup quickly and be able to compete every game. You just never know how things are going to play out in terms of tie-breaking scenarios.
Well, Diallo getting into the game. That is going to be the big talking point for Uganda, giving away too many second chance points. But the big question, Coach, what are Uganda supposed to do against possibly one of the most physical teams here at the AfroBasket?
Well, 30 offensive rebounds. I don't know that I've seen that in a game at any level. So it's obviously very difficult to compete against that. They're going to have to find a way moving forward to come up with rebounds. Maybe that's playing that big lineup that we saw a little bit more. I think at this stage, Coach Gallinopoulos just trying to give his guards a little bit of time, let them find some rhythm. But probably moving forward, I would expect to see more of that big lineup and probably more of the zone.
Well, this is interesting here. Wamala trying to contest with the offensive board. Well, here's the dunk, of course, is still in a beautiful finish in the end by Diallo. But this is going to remain on the baseline to Uganda with 12 seconds. So there's a baseline penetration. Nice little kick out. Wamala, he'll try a 3. And that's just a little too short, but good hustle. We're not going to go in. Bale, he's left wide open. Can he make it? Uganda giving everything here at the moment. They know this game is going one way, but for them it's about pride. Luboa. Final seconds winding down. Well, Comigan had a post up. Well, Mama didn't get the ball to him. Well, nice dive down the middle again. Good night to everybody watching. That pass, Coach, that dime was sublime.
Great pass, but also a great catch. You know, it was deflected a little bit. It's hard at that size to bend over and grab some of that, let alone then finish the way he did. So great play there from Ninja.
Almost a minute to go here in the 4th and final quarter. Senegal and Dye. He's made a few threes tonight. He'll go for another one to step back. This time Uganda's able to prevent them from getting those second chance points. Well, a little too casual. It results in a turnover now. They have numbers. Big bit of contact goes in. Count it. And he'll go to the free throw line. Piling on further misery for Uganda. Those fans, internationally known for the drums, the horns, the music, the culture, bringing Senegalese culture into the world of basketball.
Well, a lot to celebrate from this game. You see another transition basket here from Senegal. That's been the story of this game so far. But for Uganda, you got to understand these points matter. So, potentially they're in a tie-breaking scenario. Point differential comes into play. You got to make sure you're playing every possession to the end.
Because that was Ibrahim Diallo who did make that dime cross-court. And, it did take a deflection, but you might see that on the top 5 moment on FIBA AfroBasket socials.
Yeah, a couple of highlight plays here from Senegal in this game. Really dynamic in transition.
Get now here with the ball in his hands. Now going baseline. Tahir has only played minimal moments. Remember, he did start early this season for Uganda. Now Bale. As he's going down low, finds Ruget. Well, Tahir goes in, and he'll be able to tip that one in. Why not? Finds a die, and that's way too easy. That's simply just too easy for Senegal.
Yeah, it's something that Uganda is going to have to clean up as they move forward. They want this aggressive offensive rebounding style, but you've seen several breakdowns in transition where they had nobody back to protect the paint.
Well, Diallo called a foul here. So Ibrahim Diallo is going to get called for the foul. So, well, Carmigan's had a good game tonight. I think he's been terrific.
Yeah, I agree. Great energy from him. Did an excellent job attacking the offensive rebounds. And hopefully something he can build off of as they move forward in their next games.
It is indeed going to be Bale at the free throw line here for Uganda, but a 36-point deficit. I mean, this doesn't summarize where this game was in the third quarter because it was only 11-point deficit. Uganda showed life. The problem for them, Coach, the consistency in their offense.
Yeah, it's that run that Senegal made at the end of the third quarter really breaking the spirit of Uganda. I agree that the score doesn't reflect the feel of the overall game, but these points matter, and that's where you really have to try to keep your guys focused in these moments. Yes, winning today is not going to happen, but that 2-3-point possession sometimes can come back and bite you.
Well, the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket goes to the 4-time champion Senegal. It's been 28 years since they lifted the title in Dakar. Could this be the beginning for the Lions to go to the podium and win that 5th FIBA AfroBasket championship? It's been a great game so far tonight from Senegal. Remember, both these two teams will have to go up against both Mali and, of course, Egypt here in Group D. But, Coach, this is the beginning of what is going to be an exciting FIBA AfroBasket.
Well, great start to the tournament. Senegal establishing their dominance that we expected we might see coming in. But a lot more games to be played, and every matchup is unique.
Well, great individual performances tonight from the likes of Jean-Jacques Boissy. Of course, the man who did start on the road to the BAL early in the regular season with Urunani. And he is an icon. He is a huge fan favorite in Senegal. They love him. Coach Sagana Diop, a man who played with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Remember, drafted in 2001, number 8th pick in that NBA draft. A good start for him. But Senegal, those fans, you said it, Coach, a lot to celebrate early on of.
Yeah, no question. I think Senegal has to be happy. Had to overcome a little bit of adversity. The zone gave them a few problems. But overall, dynamic in the open court. You saw the length, what they can do on the offensive rebounds. And you see guys coming off the bench stepping up. Not only Boissy, but Gay, I thought in the second half was tremendous for them. That's what makes them so special. Anybody on any night can contribute and help them win. Makes it a nightmare for an opposing coach to try to scout.
Well, Ken, he knows he's got a good team to work with. But, Coach, one thing his players have got to not give up. Too many offensive boards.
Yeah, it's just it's a handful, right? The size and length just keeps coming at you. Uganda, obviously an undersized team. You could see that it just wore them down, especially towards the end of the game.
Well, it's going to be an exciting day here, the opening day. Remember, the other games going on here in the FIBA AfroBasket. We do have games taking place in the meet, but let's just ask you again, Coach. If you had to pick a team, maybe not to be the favorite, but a surprise team here in the AfroBasket, who would you pick?
Well, I don't know if Senegal can be considered a surprise. I think a lot of the names we're used to hearing are going to be here and perform well. To me, maybe somebody that hasn't been on the big stage as consistently that can do well would be Cote d'Ivoire. great qualification rounds for them. I think they're coming in here with a lot of confidence. They're a team that I'm keeping an eye on to see how they perform.
Well, of course, Guinea right now playing up against South Sudan. That's taking place in the Namib. So if you are watching internationally, remember, you can also watch games at Courtside 1891, the home of international basketball. That game is taking place while here in Luanda, there'll be other game in Group D. Egypt will take on Mali, and that is going to be a big showcase. But terrific game tonight from Boissy, 16 points. Like I said, many young basketball players watching him, they idolize him, Coach.
Well, and you had mentioned it before, how the ball can help these guys when they get to this stage. So Boissy, tremendous season with Tripoli, and you can see he picked up right where he left off. So came on the court, a ton of confidence, huge game for Senegal today.
Speaking of the ball as well, and I'm going to allude to Branco Badio, the Basketball Champions League, just a great platform for him where he played for Manresa, and the battles he had against Marcelino Huertas in those big games, especially in the quarterfinals. I believe it was 2 years ago, but it goes to show this is what international basketball is all about, a network. Right now we're here for the AfroBasket, but when these players play for their clubs, if you're champion of the BAL, the BCL Asia, the Basketball Champions League, or the BCL Americas, all roads end at the FIBA ICC, and you were there, Coach, in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous tournament. Such a great experience to see the best teams from throughout the world come together, see the different style of play. And man, how about that pass right there?
Sublime, prime, time, dime. Well, basketball fans, that is the opening game of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. Remember, in Namib, we have South Sudan currently playing against Guinea. But join us later at 3 p.m. local time. Egypt, they'll be up against Mali. Josh Bett alongside Coach Will Voigt. We'll see you for the next game.